Hello, how is everyone? Sorry, I am a few minutes late. I was getting feedback. So if you are just joining us, welcome, say hi, let me know where you are joining from. And today we are going to continue working on our MakerFlo Tumbler project that we started yesterday. I will go over that. Hold on, let me. Did that post? I think so. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we are going to continue working on our Tumbler project that we started yesterday. I'll go over kind of the steps that we already did to prepare that in case you weren't on yesterday. But if you wanted to go and rewatch that, you can go to our YouTube channel and go to the live section. And in the live section, you will see all of the tutorials that we did this week. You will be able to rewatch them in their entirety. It will have like all of the information that we went over. You can pause, stop, rewind, do all of that good stuff. And you can also go to our website, and in the Bling tips section, there is a bunch of the top post has a summary of all of the projects that we're doing. It's going to have the supply list of all of the items that you're going to need for each project. And then that also links you back to all of the tutorials that we are doing. You can also save the tutorials from there for the future ones that we're going to be doing. So tomorrow, our schedule is we will have Renee from Tumblers from Renee on. We're going to be working on the pen project. And the pattern that she created for those. That I'll be doing another one in the evening, which is our normal time that we do our tutorials during the week on Thursdays. And then our last one will be on Friday. So all kinds of fun stuff that we have done this week. And then I did have a bunch of people reach out that they didn't get the box during the time that we had like our pre-order, and they're wondering how to get one. So if you are one of those people, there is a handful of boxes left, and that is it. They will literally be gone, no more after that. You can find them on our website at blingyourthings.com. At the top section, there is a banner that has information about the boxes. And they are literally packed and ready to go. Once you order them, they are ready to ship out. And you can save on them if you know one of our brand ambassadors, or you go to our Facebook group. You can find out who some of those brand ambassadors are. And that is the only way that you can get a discount on the boxes at this point in time. So if you're joining us, let me know in the chat you are here. Let me know where you are joining from so I can say hi. I see that Miss Valerie is here. How are you? Miss Joanna is here too. How are you? I see you are starting some of your projects. Miss Lopez is back. She has been joining us for every single one. How are you? Okay, so there's a lot of stuff, several steps with this tumbler. So let's go ahead and jump into that, because last night we were kind of, we didn't get as far as I thought we were going to. So I want to make sure that we cover as much as we can, because there is a lot of steps with this one. And I want to make sure that you guys are able to create it, and that you don't have, any questions you're not sure, like, well, how do I make it look like that? Like, how do I do this step? Things like that. So let's make sure that we cover anything. And of course, if you have any questions as we go along, please feel free to post them in the chat, and I will answer them as we go. And if I miss it, post it again. Don't feel like you're posting it too much. So let me do just this camera so that you can see more detail. And we will go from there. Can you guys confirm that you can still hear me because last night when I switched over this one, the microphone wasn't working anymore. So if you could just confirm. Okay, thank you, Ms. Lopez. Okay. So all of the items that you're going to need for this project is obviously the tumbler handle. You're going to need your 3 little 3D printed hearts. For rhinestones, you're going to need the 3 packs of SS20s with the jonquil, the aquamarine, the crystal. And then you're also going to need your multi-size pack of crystal. I already opened mine, so you won't need this until like the end, as far as we're going to use this for fillers. Oops. Hold on, this is. Hopefully that is still good. You need that, all of that. Then you're going to need your printed pattern, and supply-wise, you're going to need your syringe, blend tip needle. You will need from your supply bag your SuperTite fusion tack. Oh, is it still echoey? I tried to turn it down so that yeah, either you guys can't hear me when I switch to this one, or it echoes. So I don't know why it does that. Sometimes it does it, sometimes it doesn't. It's so weird. So if you're still getting echo, like, let me know. Sorry. Okay, so glue, you need the SuperTite fusion tack, your syringe, your 20 gauge blend tip needle, and to attach your little hearts, you need your Gemifly sample of his, I'm not going to attempt to say it because I can't say it right. The Gemifly artisan glue, you need your sample of this. And I will say, this is not the normal bottle that it comes in. He created these little samples specifically for us, specifically for this project. We did have a little bit of hiccup with them as far as when they were shipped. Some of the glue was able to like seep out the end because there's an air gap in the cap of this. So some of them came glued shut. So what we had to do is we had to get them open, and then I had to put Vaseline on the inside of these and in the lid so that they would not glue themselves shut again. And with that too, this bottle has kind of like a 90-degree angle right here at the end. So it's kind of hard for the glue to get over this and get into this little like channel to come out. So what I would recommend when you are ready to use this, before that, lay this on its side so that the glue, because it is a little bit thick, lay it on its side so that it can start to make its way this way. And then when you're ready to use it, it will be at the end, and you're not waiting for a period of time for the glue to come to the end, right? Then what you're going to do with it is you are going to put a little bit of it on the back of your 3D hearts. I would recommend putting a little bit right in the center, kind of up here towards the side, a little bit down here, and again on the other side. There is not a lot of glue in this. We just intended them to be sample sizes. So, and you don't need a whole lot of this, so don't go crazy putting a whole bunch of the glue on here to attach it. Once you get it on there, we had lined up, you're going to use the handle, put the handle on first, use that to line up where the center of the other side of your tumbler is going to be, and then you will attach your hearts. You kind of just want to space them out a little bit so that you have room to like put all 3 of them. This is what the example looks like. And after you kind of get it where you want it, you're gonna press down and give it a little bit of pressure so that it attaches. Give it about 10 to 15 seconds. And then after that, it really shouldn't move. You want to give it a little bit of time to like continue to set. But again, you don't need a whole lot of it. Don't glob a whole bunch of it on there. And then we will do this one. And I will say, because like this isn't the normal bottle that it comes in, it kind of thickened up a little bit. We think due to the type of bottle that this is. It is normally a little bit thinner, but it works for what we need it for. All right, so then we will put our third one here. Okay, I just want to make sure that it is lined up. Then again, just hold it down so that you're getting a good grip to it. And that glue is making a good contact between the tumbler and the heart itself. So after that, after it sets up, everything should be good. It's not going to take it long for it for that super glue to set up and dry. And then after that, if you want to use this adhesive later, make sure that you do put the cap back on it and set it off to the side so that you can use it later. All right, so as far as steps that we also did last night, this is the pattern that we're going to be using and following. So if you think of the tumbler, that it's like in 3 separate sections, like this is section 1, section 2, and section 3. What we're working on right here is that middle section. So if you want this part to be lined up when you're holding the tumbler, that the hearts are on the opposite side of it, put the tumbler handle on first, mark where your center is going to be. You can use your paint pen to kind of make a mark, and then you're going to fill in that 1/3, this 1/3 of the tumbler with your paint pen, so that the back of your tumbler is also going to match the color of your rhinestones, and you're going to minimize the appearance of gaps in between your rhinestones. So mark your center and then go about 2 inches to the right and 2 inches to the left, and then just color in that whole block with your white paint pen. Don't worry about if you go too far this way or too far that way, that your aquamarine stones are going to cover that. That will be fine. You just want to make sure that the part that's going to be covered with the crystal rhinestones has the white underneath it. And if you find that your placement, as you're placing your rhinestones, that you need more white, you can always add that. You can always go back and add that later. So to work with this, I'm going to take the lid off. And I went ahead and put all of the aquamarine, so on this side and that side, which I think it is 34. There's 34 aquamarines. Now I'm going to go back and put the crystals.
There we go. So I'm gonna kind of start from the center. Like the center, there should be 15, I think, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. 15 crystal rhinestones right here. So I'm gonna put a line of my glue. And then I'm gonna kind of start in the center and work both directions. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have 14 so far, but if you see, I have a gap here and a gap there. So I'm gonna make sure that I push them all to one side so that I can get that 15th rhinestone in there. So I'm gonna make sure that they all come this way. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start these over because my alignment is off. So let me take these off. Oops. So yeah, we should have started it this way to begin with. All right, so how many do we have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ten, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, much better. That will work better. So I recommend doing your white part, putting your crystal down, and then putting the rest of the aquamarines on here. Don't start it with the aquamarine first and then try to fit these. You want to make sure that the crystals are lined up and then the rest of the aquamarines will fit. So there's 15 of the crystal here. And a trick that you can do to make sure that you get this first row straight is after you get them on, you're gonna have them, as you're placing them, put it as close as you can to the top of the tumbler, and then put the tumbler upside down on a flat surface. And then you will push all of the stones like into the table so that they're all at the same starting point. So I will do this and then I'm going to show you so that you can actually see what I'm meaning. So say this was our table or your flat surface. You will have all of your rhinestones here. And if this was your table, you're going to take the top of your pen and lightly press all of the stones so that they're flush with that surface, your flat surface. And that's going to make sure that they are all at the same starting point and that you are making this very first row straight. Like this row right here is going to help set the pattern and kind of like the flow of the rest of your rhinestone placement for the whole tumbler. So making sure that you're setting yourself up for success on this very first row is very important. So put them all on, then push them, put it upside down and push them all into the table. So it's recommended that you do this whole first row at the same time while the glue is still a little bit wet so that you can make those adjustments. And I'm going to redo this one because I have a little bit of glue. Now we can go back and do the rest of our aquamarine stones. So in the same way, put a line of glue and then put all of your aquamarines on here. So any questions about those steps so far? Anything that you need me to go back over? Anything that wasn't clear? Or if you're farther than this, anything that you have questions on as you're getting there, that we can try to work on those or save them for when we get to that step. I'll make sure that I go over it a little bit better. And one thing that you can do too to kind of help speed up the process of placing your rhinestones is to have your rhinestones that you're working with close to your work area so that the amount of time that you spend going back and forth with pickup is minimized. So the Gemiflex can, the way that we have it in the in those little bottles, it cannot be put in a syringe. The bottle that it comes in, I'll show you in a second. You would just put a blunt tip needle directly on top of it. So you wouldn't need to transfer it to a different bottle. So see, I got here to the end and I have a little bit of space and there's not enough to put that last rhinestone. So I need to go back and make sure that I have all of my rhinestones placed close together. And like right here, I found that I have like a little bit of a gap. So you're just gonna go back and slightly push them. You're gonna nudge all of them so that they're as close as they can be together. And this is part of the other reason why you want to make sure that when you're starting this first row, you get all of them placed in like one sitting. Like do this whole step at the same time. And there we go. Now that one fits. Then we'll do the same thing. We'll put this upside down and push all of those rhinestones so that they are flush. And then you just want to kind of give it like a little bit of a look at a different angle to make sure that they all look good. If you see any that are still like maybe out of alignment or doesn't look right to your eye, just go ahead and make the adjustment. So that looks pretty good. So Valerie was asking, do you put it in a syringe? So the normal size bottle, this is the normal size bottle, and the lid on these, you would just put a, blunt tip needle right on the top of this. They don't kind of like click on here, so you may need to take a piece of tape and kind of tape it to the end here so that it works. Or there are some other ones, some other syringes that are more of just a piece of plastic. They don't have the metal end, and those seem to work a little bit better. So you wouldn't need a syringe for this. You can apply it direct from here, but the amount that we need to apply rhinestones, what's going to come out of here is going to be too much, and you don't need that much. So it is recommended that you do use some type of blunt tip needle or something that's going to reduce the amount of the glue that comes out of this. You can use this syringe on this, but because we had that little hiccup with the shipping, you may need to take your scissors and trim off any of the glue that may have seeped out of it during the initial shipping so that this fits on there. Yeah, so like mine, I would need to take, I have a little bit of glue that's like dried to the edge of this. So I would need to take my scissors and kind of trim that excess dried glue off so that I can get my syringe on there, or my blunt tip needle on there. But for what we're using it for, really, if you just have it upside down, it's all gonna come to the tip, and then you can just put it on your 3D printed hearts, and then it will work that way. All right, so now that we have that done, we can go ahead and start filling in the rest of the pattern. So you can do the hearts in like two ways, right? You can put them on your tumbler wherever you think you want them, or you could follow the pattern where I tried to make it so that if you placed X number of rows and then put it on, it would minimize the amount of filler stones that you needed to put around the hearts as you work up to it. So you can do that, or you can just put them on just like I did, whatever process you want to do. So let's see. How do I? All right, so I'm going to try to place several of these rows really quick so that we can get to this fill part. If you want to go grab a snack and come back, you are more than welcome to do that. Or if you want to stay working with us, we can get this whole first section of our tumbler done. So to follow the pattern, if you've never used a pattern like this before, you're either just going to work, if you're right-handed, you're probably going to work from left to right so that you keep your pen and your hand out of your work. If you're left-handed, you'll probably work from right to left. And then you're just going to put we're doing what's called a honeycomb fill. So you're going to put your next row of rhinestones into the little crevice that is created by the two stones from the row above it. You don't need to cram them into that top row. You want to leave yourself enough play per se so that if you need to make adjustments as you're going, you can, so that you can keep your rows straight. If you cram them all into the row above, as you have slight, how do I want to say it? Like slight adjustments where maybe the row wasn't completely straight or one rhinestone slightly bigger than the other, and you're cramming it all into whatever space is available, you're going to find that as you continue to go, you're going to have one area that tends to be high and another area that tends to be low, and you're going to end up with lines that wave at you. So you want to leave it so that there's enough play in there that you can make adjustments to keep that row straight. Like your alignment should be off the center of the stone, not the top of the stone. You want to be lining up. The flat part of the rhinestone is called the table, and that is what you're lining up to keep everything straight, is that table. That's where your eye is going to be drawn to as you're looking at it from a distance. And if those are like not lined up with each other, that's what you're going to see. That's where you're going to see, oh, that doesn't look like it's straight. And after I get this row done, I will show you another trick that I do to kind of help speed up the process of placing stones. Especially, this works really well when you're working with a single color and you're doing a lot of those colors for like a solid fill. Oops. So then after you get like each row done, kind of just look at it from like a different angle and make sure that everything continues to look like it's lined up. If it's not, like this one looks like it's a little low, just make your adjustments as you go. Take your time with it. It doesn't have to be like super exact. You can always adjust it as you're going. Don't worry about it being so perfectly straight that you like obsess over it. It's okay if there's gonna be variations of it being straight. All right, so in the pattern we have, let's see, we have 2, 4, 5. We have 5 rows that are all aquamarine and crystal. So we can kind of set ourselves up where we can do a couple of these rows at a time, and it will help speed up the time it's going to take for us to apply those stones. So if we take and we do a small line for row 1, and then another small line for row 2, we can start to work these 2 rows together. Oops, I'm working backwards. So I'll kind of just work little sections where I am working 2 rows kind of at the same time. If you're working at a pattern where there's like multiple color changes, this probably isn't the best method. You might mess up your pattern. Let me go back to going this way. And with the SuperTite Fusion Tack, it is the cure time for it is 24 hours for it to be completely dry. And it is waterproof after 72 hours. So after you've completed your tumbler, you need to wait the 72 hours before you wash it to kind of like clean it up. If you try to wash it before then, you are going to reactivate the glue and you could potentially lose some of your rhinestones by trying to wash it too early. So any questions about that? Sound like something you guys can do or that you would try out to help speed up your process? And as we are doing this, what other, have you guys started any other projects from your box? Have you gotten anything else started, completed? What are y'all working on? I think I've seen that Miss Lopez had completed a couple of her keychains. I think she did both sides of one. That was really cool. I'll show you guys mine here in a second. That was the second tutorial that we did. So if you want to go back and rewatch that, again, everything is in the live section on our YouTube channel. You can see how we did that. And then on the tutorial we did yesterday with MakerFlo, Sam had actually let me know that those keychains are sublimatable. So if you do sublimation, you can put a sublimated design on them and then rhinestone it like that too. I honestly wasn't aware that you could sublimate that because it is a clear item. I thought it had to be, I thought it had to have that white coating on it to do sublimation. So I learned something new yesterday myself. Joanna says she's working on the ornament. Awesome, awesome. Miss Lopez says she's trying to finish up her apron. Yeah, I had a couple cool ideas for the apron, but I'm gonna have to wait until I get through this week to do that, since I'm doing all of the tutorials. It's gonna take a little bit of time to do all of that. So for right now, I had just put I was kind of doing like an ombre scatter around the MakerFlo name, and then rhinestoning on the embroidery. And then I put a big S on it for my initial. So this is what we have so far. And then someone was asking, so as you get to the hearts and your lines are going to break up, how do you make sure that you keep your line straight here? So one thing that you can do, and you can apply this little technique to, you can apply this technique to any tumbler that you're doing, or really any project, is you can take a pencil, take any item that is stationary. You can take like a container. You can take your rhinestone trays and stack them up to give yourself more height. For right now, I'm going to use, these are the trays from our honeycomb tray, our honeycomb rhinestone tray. I'm going to take a couple of these, and then you take your pencil, put the lead out just a little bit, put your pencil on top of your trays or whatever you're using. You could use a book, some notebooks, a box, really anything, as long as it's not going to move. Put your pencil on top of it, put the lead so that it is next to the tumbler, and then don't move the pencil, just hold it there, and then turn your tumbler all the way around. And now you have given yourself a guideline that is straight. Now you're not going to put your rhinestones directly on that line. You're just going to use that as like spatial relationship to be like, okay, all of these rhinestones are about the same distance away from that line. And that's how you're going to make sure that as you're going along, that everything is straight. You don't need to put a line for every single row of rhinestones that you're going to use. Maybe every couple of inches. If you're newer, you could do it maybe every inch, every 2 inches. Honestly, every inch is probably a bit excessive. You're going to start to obsess over making sure that it's completely straight. But really every couple of inches, if you put yourself a little guideline, then you can just make sure if like one side's starting to get really high and the other is really low, just make adjustments to all of those rows to bring everything so that it's back into center. So you would do that, you know, take a couple more of your trays, add another book to that, use your bling box, flip it upside down, whatever you can use, as long as this isn't going to move, and then just use your pencil. And as you wash your tumbler, that little guide mark is going to go away. It's going to go away anyway. So hi, Miss Renee, how are you? So Renee is joining us for our tutorial tomorrow. We're going to be doing the pen, which I told you guys I was going to show you. So these were the 2 keychains that I had did. This was the one that I did on live with you guys. I kind of did like, it was like the heart was like opening. And then this one I did kind of as an example, I just did a mix of the crystal, the light amethyst, and aquamarine. And this one I did just a solid aquamarine, and I kind of added a little accent with the crystal up here at the top. But apparently these are, you can sublimate on them, which is crazy because I didn't know that you could sublimate on clear acrylic. So I'm interested to try that. But yeah, if you guys get these done, this is a super quick project to practice with, to get your rhinestone juices flowing. But yeah, post those anywhere on social media, and then tag Bling Your Things and MakerFlo, and we're good to go. So let's see, we probably have time to do a couple more rows here. You do, Renee? Like on clear acrylic? I didn't know that you could do it on clear acrylic. How well does it show up? Like, are the colors vibrant? Or is it kind of like you're just putting it there? Oh, this is going to work out perfect where I put that. Oops. So like I was trying to explain earlier, is if you work your pattern and you follow it like this and you put all of your rows and then you put your heart on, you can minimize the amount of filler stones that you are going to need to apply later. And where I put mine, it just so happens that it is lining up very nicely where the bottom of this row is meeting up with the bottom of that heart. So see, the bottom of this row fits right up against that. So then all I will need to do for my fillers so then you're just going to put as many of the rhinestones up to the edge of this as you can, to where, you know, a full one isn't going to fit. And then do all of your rows and then go back in and do your fill work. Actually, I'm going to leave this one out until I'm ready to fill all of that in. So there we go. And then you see, as we're going, we have our line there. Now we can see if like any of them are like starting to go over the line, then maybe I want to make that side of them tighter. And if these are high, then I want to try to maybe push these down a little bit and make them a little bit looser so that we can try to keep everything lined up. But it's good if you work everything a couple rows together at the same time, so that then you don't end up with alignment issues where like maybe one ended up too high and then they won't fit anymore. If you do end up with that where like the stone won't fit anymore, you should just size down one size rhinestone, or you could do 2 smaller rhinestones to fit it back in there. So let me finish these 2 rows. Do you guys have any questions about that so far? Tomorrow, our tutorial will be at 2. Renee will be joining us at 2 o'clock. And then we will have our normal tutorial time at 7, our normal 7 o'clock on YouTube. And then we have coming up soon, we will have one more bling box for this year. And one of our brand ambassadors, Jamie, is going to, she helped pick some of the colors and the design that is going to be in that box. So that is super fun. Spots for those boxes will open on the 15th. And then they will ship at the beginning of December. We will also have some stuff for Black Friday. That's coming up very soon. I'm going to do some mystery box stuff with packs of rhinestones, different projects, all kinds of fun stuff. So if you guys have anything like rhinestone wish list that you would like to see a part of a Black Friday sale, feel free to let me know and I will see if we can get it included in one way or another. And I think what we're going to do with that one, you guys had liked when we did this before, is we kind of did some hidden things on the website. And if you found it and added it to your cart, then you got a free item. I think we're going to do that again. What do you all do for Thanksgiving? Every year we deep fry a turkey. How do y'all cook your turkeys? Anybody else deep fry? Do you cook it in the oven? What are y'all doing? Oh no. There we go, and we will just continue with our pattern like that. Fun stuff. That one should go fairly quickly too. What was he saying? Since it is kind of just like the honeycomb pattern, there's not a lot of color changes in it other than when you're doing the ombre part. And I think somebody was saying Should I have been adding the jonquil? Probably. Did I add, what do we have? 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 5. No, there's 5 rows. There's 5 rows of straight aqua, and then you start adding the jonquil. And you don't have to follow that pattern exactly. Like if you get going and you forget to put a yellow one in there in the same exact order as it is on the printing pattern, don't worry about that. It is an ombre pattern, so it's going to look perfectly fine if you put it in the slot next to it, or you don't add one in the same order. If you put one in, it will be perfectly fine. You're kind of just blending those colors together anyway. So don't worry about following it to a T. If you mess up the order, believe me, it is going to look perfectly fine. Whatever mess ups you have with it, it's kind of designed to be that way so that if you have mess ups, it's not going to be noticeable. So don't stress about it. Don't feel like you got to go back and strip the color back out or restart it or anything like that. Just make the adjustments as you go. So hopefully that helps get you started with that one. Most of the rest of the process is really kind of just the same, just following the pattern. The only other thing that you're going to do is as you work on the heart part, I'll show you over here. As you work on the heart part, just put the rhinestones as close as you can to the heart with the SS20s. I personally would do the whole tumbler. I would do this whole pattern in SS20s, and then I would save the fill-in work until I'm done. After everything is done, then I'll go back in and I'll start adding in the smaller rhinestones around the sides of the heart. And then you can add the jonquil ones on the heart part at any point in time. You can do them as you go. You can do them after. I originally was going to try to add some to the sides here, but I think when I did that, it didn't really look that great. You can do that if you want, but me personally, I'm just going to leave it with the painted edges. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, what do y'all do for Thanksgiving? Renee says she has Thanksgiving and she bakes her turkey. Awesome. We have we always end up deep frying 4 turkeys. We love deep fried turkey. So we have 4 deep fried turkeys, and then we have one that everybody eats that day, and then everybody tends to take one home for leftovers. So then all of the family members will have their own deep fried turkey. But yeah. So I think we will call it for today. I will see you all tomorrow with Renee joining us. We will have 2 tutorials tomorrow. We're doing the pen, and then I forget what else we are doing. My brain can't remember right now. So thank you guys, as always, for joining me, and I will see you hopefully back here tomorrow. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at info@blingyourthings.com or go over to our Facebook group, which is Bling Your Things Rhinestones, and post your questions there. We are more than happy to help you. Thanks for joining me, guys. I will see you next time.